Let's talk about movies now for those of us who aren't in lockdown. Jason DeRosso is here to tell us what's going on in the movies. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Fran. How are you?
I'm good. The first film, I am in lockdown, so I'm not going to the movies anytime soon, but the first film you've got from us is from Ireland, and it's focusing on a woman who's trying to get around two major problems, including domestic violence.
Yeah, this one is called Herself, and it's a low-budget drama made by a British director that people will know. This is Phyllida Lloyd's film. She made Mamma Mia and The Iron Lady, both with Meryl Streep. This has a less well-known cast, and as I mentioned, it's a low-budget film, a kind of naturalistic drama, but a very good one, I think. It's about a working-class woman in Dublin who is escaping a violent marriage with her two daughters. And rather than sit on the public housing waiting list, and indeed rather than wait out in various forms of crisis accommodation, she decides to build her own house. It's not quite a tiny house, but it's a small house. She goes online and she sees this sort of small house guru who offers these sort of YouTube clips, telling people how to build their own house in a sort of DIY way. And she's offered a small plot of land at the back of a rural property where she's been employed as a cleaner. And so soon, basically, she's researched this modest plan, and with the help of a local builder and some local volunteers, she's building the house. Now, there are some problems that arise, and it is a drama, so there are all sorts of obstacles on this path. But I'll play you a clip first, which gives you a sense of the determination of this woman, as played by screenwriter and lead actor Claire Dunn. Here's the clip.
I want to build a house. These are some of the vacant sites that you have going spare, and the addresses are on the back. And this is how much it would cost me for the materials, and a plumber and an electrician is €35,000. You see, I figured out that I cost you 33,000 in rent and welfare in 1 year alone. And at number 653 on the housing list, sure, that's 3 or 4 years keeping us in hotels, which would cost you 120,000, maybe even more. But if you lend me the money and let me use a site, then I could have that built by Christmas and be paying you rent for the house.
Hard to argue with the logic. It sounds great. Does her plan work?
Yeah, well, it is. Look, it does sound too good to be true. I think the important thing about this film is the depiction of the way that a community rallies around this woman. I mean, as anyone who's watched an episode of Grand Designs can attest, coming in on time and on budget, even with a small house, is very difficult. But seriously, this is a film that I think is unflinching at the way that it looks at the predicament of this woman who has left this violent marriage. And of course, she can't let her caseworker at Social Security know that she's building this house, but she most of all can't let her very jealous husband know, who works in the building game as well. So the elements are there for really a compelling drama, but it's also such a sharply observed and well acted film by this great filmmaker, Phyllida Lloyd, who incidentally came on the idea for this story with lead actor Claire Dunn when they were both putting on all-female Shakespeare productions in the women's prison system. And so they met women during that experience that talked to them about their experience with domestic violence. So it's a really interesting story behind the film as well. It's called Herself. Where cinemas are open, it's out, and Phyllida Lloyd's on the show today at 10 as well.
Sounds terrific. Jason, more than 12 million Australians are in lockdown. What have you got for all of us to watch?
Look, there's so many things to watch on streaming, but there is a new film out that releases tomorrow on Amazon Prime called The Tomorrow War. And look, this is a fun monster movie that mixes a bit of a time travel science fiction story in it as well. It's about a father reconnecting with his daughter in the future, but it's also about Earth basically fighting off an alien invasion in the future. And we've gone so badly in this fight for survival. Our future selves have come back in time to basically draft people from the present day to jump into the future and help help fight. And this is where Chris Pratt, who's this army vet turned high school teacher, comes in. He's basically drafted into this future war, and there he meets his daughter, who's become this great scientist and a leader. And I think that plays out quite well. Yvonne Strahovski, the Australian actor, people will know her from Handmaid's Tale and a whole heap of other things, plays the daughter. But look, most of all, if you're in lockdown, I think it's a fun monster movie with some big sort of expressively shot violence, some great monsters, and a kind of touching core to it as well. And also pretty funny as well. So, yeah, The Tomorrow War comes out tomorrow on Amazon Prime.
A fun monster movie. Thanks, Jason.
You're welcome.
Jason Di Rosso, and you can hear Jason this morning on the Screen Show at 10 o'clock.